As we continue to examine educator innovation, an important piece to address is the constant need for substitute teachers in classes like math and science. It was clear that a piece that was missing from Tim's puzzle was an intentional teacher recruitment campaign. So, in 2018, TeachNC was launched, recruiting teacher candidates through a media campaign and online portal with everything from licensure information to North Carolina's first teacher jobs board. By simply removing barriers to information and support, TeachNC has recruited more than 9,000 teacher candidates who want to teach in classrooms just like Ava's. In fact, in just the first 3 years, TeachNC exceeded its goal to be a major contributor to the teacher pipeline and became a fully funded state initiative. And while there are always more partnerships and opportunities to expand, TeachNC is about as close to 100% implementation as it can get. Here to talk more about North Carolina's one-stop shop for becoming a teacher, please welcome Gab Barnes from Teach.
Good morning. So before I get started and get into the meat of everything, I want to tell you all a little bit about my story. So I want to introduce, this is little Gab. I came to North Carolina from out of state in 2005. I was 15 years old, and as you can probably imagine, I was not excited. I was pretty angsty about it. And it was a hard transition moving to a new state with a different culture and being the new kid. But actually, North Carolina, specifically Franklin County, was a nice place for little Gab to land, even though I didn't see it at the time. In my previous schools, I actually flew under the radar. I'm an introvert by nature. And in Franklin County, that was the first time where I felt like my teachers knew me. My teachers saw me. And whether I was sitting in their classrooms or interacting with them in sporting events, I feel like we had a relationship and that I really had a community in my school. And so what I'd like for us to do for just a moment is think about your favorite teacher. And so I'm going to give you a moment to think about them, and then I'm going to ask you to share. Because even though I did not love initially moving to North Carolina, I knew that North Carolina had something special happening even in 2005. So let's take a moment to think about your favorite teacher. And on 3, I'm going to ask you to say their name out loud. Okay? All right. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Mine is Miss Goodwin. So I'd like you to think about what made that favorite teacher stand out to you so much that decades later, you, in 5 seconds, can recall their name. For me, Miss Goodwin, she made me excited to learn. She understood what made me and my class get excited and infused that into her lesson plans and in her classroom. She allowed us to be creative. And I have multiple examples of my favorite teachers. And I feel lucky about that. And we should all be so lucky to have teachers that make us feel seen. We should all feel so lucky to have teachers that encourage us to push ourselves in our academics. And that's what our students deserve. Every student deserves to feel seen and be heard and be encouraged in their school buildings. But it doesn't have to be luck, and it shouldn't be luck. In fact, we can fill schools with teachers just like the ones that we're holding in our minds right now. And we are. And in fact, North Carolina knows it's not luck, which is why over the last decade specifically, North Carolina's shown its commitment to expanding the support for our teachers and recruiting more future favorite teachers into the pipeline. So today, I'm going to talk about TeachNC's part in that work and how we're leveraging technology and humans in relationship to address the teacher shortage, and then the exciting impact that we've had to date. So back in 2018, and likely before then, North Carolina was facing a critical teacher shortage. There were critical vacancies in hard-to-staff roles, like was mentioned earlier. There was a decline interest in teaching, especially from students who were high-performing students. They were less likely to choose teaching as a profession. And although there were teacher recruitment initiatives happening widely across the state, the resources were a bit fragmented and required those who were interested in teaching to dig around for lots of resources, which takes someone to kind of know the system already to know where to look to find the information. And so with all that, Best NC set out to figure out how might we address this challenge and find a solution. While the teacher shortage remains a challenge, there's also the challenge of finding the resources. There are barriers for those who are interested in teaching. They come across different barriers and challenges in getting into the profession. And that is something that we can concretely address. So, Best NC went out to look for how we can inspire and reduce the barriers in entering the teaching profession. When Best NC found Teach, initially they saw us as a marketing campaign, which we do marketing. We had just launched our PSA to bring attention to the profession and inspire folks to reimagine teaching and get excited about the value and impact that wonderful teachers like Ms. Goodwin and all of the other teachers that we're thinking about have on students. And through that, they learned that while we do have robust marketing, we offer even more. Here are the 3 areas in which Teach focuses. First, we work to identify potential future teachers wherever they may be. So that's in our high school classrooms, also those career changers that have a calling and a tug for the teaching profession, but just need a little bit of help figuring out how to get there. We then inspire them to follow that tug and jump into a career in teaching. And then we provide them support along the way to overcome those barriers to entry. And so, as I mentioned before, we do have a robust marketing team. We use our marketing to draw people in and inspire them to consider a career in education by elevating the perception of the teaching profession. But then, once they land on our platform, we're a one-stop shop to consolidate all of those resources that are happening and available across the state into one place. So that if I want to become a teacher, I know that TeachNC is a place where I can land for accurate, updated information that'll guide me along the process into making my career a reality. So when they land on our platform, not only do they get a wonderful user experience through our technology, but we also connect them to opportunities and real people to help them along their way. So for example, if today I were to go onto TeachNC and say, I want to teach high school English, I would be able to first connect one-on-one with a current North Carolina educator. We provide TeachNC coaches, and folks can set up a time to talk with them one-on-one and get an idea of what their steps should be for their unique circumstances to advance into a teaching role. So that can relate to anything from what is it like being a teacher to what teacher prep program should I be considering? And walking away from that, they leave with a concrete plan to help them move through the process. I would then use our program info searcher where we can filter through all of the different teacher prep programs in North Carolina. There are over 100 different programs. And so folks can go in and decide, you know what, I want to teach high school English. I want a program that is in this tuition range, and I want it to be in person. And it will filter down all of the programs that meet those criteria. And then I can apply to those programs, and TeachNC is going to reimburse me for those application costs. So that initial barrier of, well, I don't know if I want to spend the money to see what this career could be, we can remove that barrier from the front end, so that way they can fully step into what this career could be. And then finally, we can help them look for jobs. So once they've decided, I'm going to enroll in a program, they can look at our statewide job board to find positions that they are able to apply to. Now, while all of those resources emphasize what future teachers see, we also have a dedicated program manager who works with our school districts and our educator prep programs to support their teacher recruitment programs and their teacher recruitment initiatives. And this is through real relationship and collaboration. And so on here you will see a few of the opportunities that we provide in engaging with our partners, from hosting info sessions to connect partners with actual individuals who are looking for support to earn their teaching license. We provide engagement opportunities for high school students to learn about their profession and see how the skills and the personality and the characteristic traits that they have in them right now translate to a career in teaching. So after learning about all of the things that TeachNC can offer outside of and in addition to our marketing, it was full steam ahead with Best NC looking to figure out how we can bring this initiative to North Carolina and secure funding to start this initiative here in our state. And so initially, TeachNC started as a public-private partnership with Best NC, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and Teach. And the goal in our first 3 years was to prove our efficacy and show proof of concept that there is a possibility for a statewide messaging campaign around the teaching profession and also statewide recruitment. In 2020, we launched our statewide job board, and this was a game changer in the work that we were doing because it leveled the playing field between the school districts in North Carolina. So rural school districts had the same amount of visibility as our bigger and more well-known districts. So it made them more competitive to be able to get their vacancies seen by those who were eager to get into the classroom. And in that year, we exceeded our goal by 3 times. From there, we deepened our partnership, so we started working more closely with our educator prep programs and exceeded our expectations and secured one-time funding through the state budget. And after that, it has been exponentially growing our impact every year. And I'm excited to talk about that in a little bit. And so in 2021, I believe, or 2022, we secured statewide recurring funding for TeachNC and integrated within the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, which really solidified us as an organization and an initiative of the state to really work with all of our partners in our collective effort to make sure our students have access to excited, talented, and passionate teachers. I pressed the wrong button. There we go. So to date, we have supported nearly 10,000 future educators in applying to North Carolina educator prep programs. For context, the goal our first year was 250. So these results continue to exceed what we initially imagined for this initiative. And that is something to be really proud of as a state. And the credit for this goes to every piece of the work. So from our amazing coaches who are excited and enthusiastic about teaching, really elevating or counteracting the narrative that we may often hear, our coaches are dedicated to North Carolina's education system. Of course, our robust and tech capabilities and our marketing experts. And last but never least, our strong relationships with our teacher prep programs and our school districts. They really make the work possible and have been wonderful partners in collaborating towards our collective goal. So, to put this in context across the state, North Carolina leads the pack across all regions in which Teach operates. That lead the pack is an NC State reference, so if there's any Wolfpackers out there, go Pack. So you'll see here, North Carolina really leads the way in educator recruitment across our Teach regions. And these are also regions that are considered successful. So we're seeing success across regions, but North Carolina continues to stand out. And that is due to the investment of everyone across our state and the strong relationships that we have with our partners. So looking ahead, what we think about for the future, we would love to have more in-person opportunities and in-person events with our partners. We had one recently with Wake County where we were able to connect instructional assistants with twice. We were able to connect instructional assistants with EPPs or educator prep programs who were willing and ready and excited to support them. So think of it as like a college fair for future teachers. And it was really exciting. We've done it twice so far, and we were looking to expand that across the state. It was a really wonderful event. We'd also like to deepen our relationships with our friends in the field. So what other organizations and community-based organizations are working with potential future teachers and doing work that's aligned with our mission? We want to be able to support and work closely with them too. An example of that is working with North Carolina Teaching Fellows and making sure that we're promoting their information, and so folks know that that is an opportunity available to them. And where I would like to end is with some of our current future favorite teachers. These are our youngest future teachers. These are high school students who are currently exploring the profession. This is from the Future Teachers of North Carolina events. And those events, if you have never been, are such a wonderful and exciting example of like the excitement that's kind of pulsing through the state. These events were buzzing with young people who were so excited to enter the profession. And it serves as a good reminder that there are plenty of potential future favorite teachers out there. It's more of a matter of making sure that they're aware that there is opportunity for them out there, making the path easier for them to navigate, and making sure that they know that teachers in North Carolina are valued and that becoming an educator is one of the best professions that you can choose. You all will have these slides. In here is a wonderful video of a student, Michael Ray, who is going to be an educator soon, and his ability to connect and explain why teaching is such a strong interest of his is beautiful, and I think represents all of the potential of North Carolina. So with that, I want to thank you all for our time today, and should you want to connect and partner, I would be happy to do so and talk more. Thank you.